The tradition of tithing was reinstated by the denominations. It's not New Testament giving. Historically, tithes were law and paid in kind. They were agricultural products. The ancient Israelites gave a tenth of their harvest to the Levites who had no inheritance of the land, and a tenth of this was given to the temple for service. In the New Testament, giving's from the heart to encourage helping the needy and helping those ministering the gospel of Jesus Christ. Guidance was given in 2 Corinthians chapters 8 and 9. Giving to others, 8:13 through 15 says, "It's not our intention that others may be relieved while you are burdened, but that there may be equality. At the present time, your surplus will meet their need, so that in turn their surplus will meet your need. Then there will be equality, as it is written, he who gathered much had no excess, and he who gathered little had no shortfall." Jesus said, "For whoever gives you a cup of water to drink in my name because you belong to Christ, surely I say to you, he will by no means lose his reward." He taught many times to store treasures in heaven while giving to the poor. Now, giving to ministry. God loves a cheerful giver. 2 Corinthians 9:6 and on says, "But I say this, he who sows sparingly will reap sparingly, and he who sows bountifully will also reap bountifully. So let each one give as he purposes in his heart, not grudgingly or of necessity, for God loves a cheerful giver. And God is able to make all grace abound toward you, that you, always having sufficiency in all things, may have an abundance for every good work. As it is written, he has scattered abroad his gifts to the poor, his righteousness endures forever. Now he who supplies seed to the sower and bread for food will supply and multiply your store of seed and will increase the harvest of your righteousness. You will be enriched in every way to be generous on every occasion, so that through us your giving will produce thanksgivings to God." Here's something exciting. One can help the saints doing the work of the harvest by giving gifts. But be careful not to sow to false ministries leading others to destruction. Do not partake in their evil deeds. Paul is a good example for us, for those doing the work. He chose to work for a living, provide his own needs, even though he did receive gifts. Paul commanded the Thessalonians to work quietly for a living so they would lack nothing and be able to help others. He warned those pursuing riches they would ensnare themselves. Now godliness with contentment is great gain, for we brought nothing into this world, and it is certain we carry nothing out. And having food and clothing, with these we shall be content. But those who desire to be rich fall into temptation and snare, and into many foolish and harmful lusts, which drown men in destruction and perdition. For the love of money is a root of all kinds of evil, for which some have strayed from the faith in their greediness and pierced themselves through many sorrows. The practice of Old Testament tithing was taught in the early church councils, the Council of Tours as well as the Third Council of Macon. Tithing of money remains an important doctrine in many denominations today, even though the Catholic Church discontinued this practice by Pope Gregory VII in the 11th century because of abuses. And yet, in the 16th century, Luther approved the general paying of tithes for the benefit of both denominations, Protestant and Catholic. But gradually opposition grew. Tithes were repealed in France, Italy, and gradually died out in the Church of Scotland. New methods of taxation were developed in countries providing financial support of the church out of government funds. The tithe was never a legal requirement in the United States. The Eastern Orthodox churches never accepted the idea of tithes, and the Orthodox church members have never paid them. This information tells us those organizations teaching compulsory tithing teach traditions of man, which is not New Testament giving. For example, the cults teach this, the Mormons and the Seventh-day Adventists. There should be no compulsory tithing. People should give as motivated in their heart. God sees their works and is pleased for those who support the spread of His gospel, the gospel of Jesus Christ. And the poor should be given the gospel free of charge, for freely it was given you. But avoid supporting heresy because you partake in their evil deeds. God bless.